Alright, we are all set up and ready to go. So, hello everyone and welcome back to Factorio. Let's click resume and let's see, what were we doing last time? It looks like we were trying to fix red circuit production, and I also want to be doing this. So this is going in the background, obviously, that's cool. And I remember that low density structures was a bit of a bottleneck before. Now it seems to be fine again. So let's see here. Somewhere around here we've got another rocket silo. So we can place that in. And we power you up, and let's copy paste the passive provider chest, and it has the groups set up properly. That's all good. So you do automatic requests and all productivity modules. So is there anything else that I need to do for this? I don't think so. Alright, so that is hopefully good to go, and hopefully that will result in having more rockets launched. And then we can head over to look at the productivity modules again. How are you doing? We just need so many more red circuits. Which apparently might be short on plastic, at least a little bit. So let's head down to the plastic production and see what to do about that. Although I think that the answer to increasing the plastic production is that we can't do all that much about it. Yeah, I mean this is going about as much as it can. It's short on petroleum gas. It's short on petroleum gas, and we are still filling up that box of solid fuel, which is going to be using some petroleum gas out of this whole system. So more specifically, it's using light oil. So I think we can chop that off now. And that should hopefully get the plastic production back up and running. And power is still doing fine-ish, but we don't want to go too crazy with the modules. Alright, but if these guys are fluid ingredient short, then we can improve that by just popping in some productivity modules, and that should get us more plastic output. So we can do that. How's the rocket silos going? Looks like we just launched another one out of there. This one is still crafting up. So our transport platform that we have here is slowly but surely getting stuff delivered. It's gonna take a while. Cyan, hello. Yeah, so we are just like slowly chipping away at space stuff, while mostly we're trying to get the ground set up properly. So this is pretty not great, although it looks like the coal supply is doing better now for some reason. I don't know why. We're doing Space Engineers. That's a fun game. I have not played nearly enough Space Engineers. It's just the sort of game that I started up, played, and thought, oh, I'll come back to this later, and then I never quite came back to it later. That's a lot of hours. Alright, so what was I doing? I remember there are some resource shortages, like, oh yeah, we don't have any stone. Technically there's 580 stone there, but that doesn't count. So we need more stone. I think we already got more copper. Yeah, down there. So let's go along to that area and bring some stone in, I guess. Although stone isn't super urgent, so maybe I just ignore it for now. No, I probably should. I should probably make sure we have stone going. So let's head on over and set up a system to import some stone. So first we need to get all the way over to where some stone is. Like that one is nice and close, so I think we'll just do that. And there's also not biters especially close to it. So let's run on over this way. Over we go, and now we just need to set up a T-junction on this diagonal, which is the worst. Wait, where? This actually has to be further down because of the cliffs, which we still can't do anything about. We don't have cliff explosives yet, so we need to work around the cliffs, which means building down here. Alright, so we have you. And we have you. And this can then connect across to that. And this can connect across to that. Alright, now we get our signals. So these go into the intersection. Like there, there, and there. Then we get the block signals, which come out of the intersection. There, there, and then up here. Alright. Intersection made, except for those couple of guys, which are still getting placed. And we are basically close enough already. So let's just have you, I don't know, just go along this way. I want you to get up and then curve over. And we want you to come up here and then go over that way. Alright, so that is that. Now we have our electric miners. So we just get a whole bunch of these guys placed in. And then once they're all placed, then we're going to have to do the rest of the work to power them up and build a wall around them. And then we're also going to have to figure out how to actually get this stuff in to the factory. Alright, that should be enough mining drills for now. There we go. I guess we should just place the rest of them as blueprints. So that gets a row of belts, that gets a row of belts. You get a row of belts. Then we enter the map mode. And we place down some electric mining drills in this mode. Like that, and then another row down like that, and that's close enough. that is close enough to getting the entire patch. I'm not going to worry about the last couple scraps. So we line that up, and now we need to bring power and drone coverage up here. So we can run down this way and bring a power line across. Alright, then we just have to run that along all these machines. And I should probably be setting the defenses up before I start making pollution over here, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, there we go. And just that last one over there. Now we get a wall which goes across this way and down. And that will be good for now, because I just realized I have to get drone coverage over. So you go there. And alright, the drones are to remove the trees are coming from out of the way. There we go. That placed. And now we can go up to there, and that's a reasonable spot to put it. Okay, now we get our laser turrets, which we're going to need a good couple of, especially around these corners where they like to attack. This is probably overkill. I don't think we're going to need quite this many, but it's not going to hurt. And there's sort of a gap there. Alright, so that is most of the wall. Now we just need to get this third section in. Alright, are they likely to attack from this direction? Not especially. So this is going to be much lighter coverage, just a couple of laser turrets along the way. Alright. So, next step is we need the train tracks to loop around, and then we need to put the station in. So you can go there and get a refueler like that. Okay, wait, I'm using these blueprints for the most part for this world. So let's make sure to swap over to those. Now we just need to load these up, which I still don't have like a generic train loading blueprint for this save. And we just have to do something like this. And then go back up like this. Alright, let's make this my generic train loading blueprint for this save. So we just have some boxes in. And then the inserters go along that way. And then they load in from the other side. So now we just have this. And I might have to move that drone port after all. It's sort of right in the way. So then we can get power poles in all of those spots to get all of those powered up. And then we have to do the splitting part. So that goes there and then over to there. Then this one goes there. And wait, no, that's wrong. Because it has to go into this one so that they can fill the buffers first. Then over to there. And then finally we are moving that drone port to up here, where it's not in the way of anything. And how much do... So this goes like this. Right, and then we can make this a blueprint. So you are train loader. Like that. And now we just need to put all of these belts into this, which is probably going to require some extra custom work. So, how do we do that? We are going to have to take this apart a little bit in order to fit all these guys merging together. Alright, so then we have those two going into there. Let's take all that out. And we need something like this. So you go into there, you go into there. Then you go into there. And this one comes along and into there. Alright. That's probably good enough for this, although the right side is probably going to have more miners on it. So it's not going to be quite even. Yeah, how do we actually... Okay, I think I've figured it out if we have the space for it. So we need you to, like, come all the way up and around into that, but yeah, we just physically don't have enough space for that. So this is where just being better at planning would be helpful. So we are just going to have to accept that this is not quite perfect and just do that. And now we have our stone. So that is going. And this is going to be a stone source. Stone source. Save that. And give it a train limit of 1 probably. And now we have to set up a train. So let's do all that crafting. And it's going to take it a little bit. And we don't even have a stone destination yet for it to go to. So let's actually just run over to set that up. So up we go. And we need to find somewhere near the train tracks that is also relatively near the stone belt. So that we can just shove the belt off of the tracks into our existing stone belt and not have to rework everything. Alright, so now we go all the way across over here, and the stone comes in from that way. So there should be enough space to, like, take it off somewhere in this area and then just bring it across. What's that? Lost a laser turret in this wall. Alright. Well, in that case, you get a couple additional laser turrets for extra defense. So now we run up here, and we need just a little branch off of you. Of course, there's a power pole right there. Doesn't look like it's doing anything important, though. So you then come down there and get connected up like that. Alright, let's get that drone covered like so. Okay, now we have a train stop which goes in that way. Left the right amount of space for it. And I'm going to have to remove those power poles again. This drone port doesn't actually connect to anything except for this area where I was messing around, so I can just remove it. Now, do I have a blueprint for just quickly unloading trains? No, I do not. Let's make one now. So I have the massive scale ones, but not these, just like moderate scale ones. So you get all this, and you get your little boxes, and then you go off onto a belt, which we just need to make like this, and do that same thing for this one. Alright, now we merge these two belts up. And we have a stone belt once this is all powered. Alright, so that is powered, and now we just have to label this as stone destination. And we save it. Let's give it a train limit of 1, just for the future proofing. Now we can put the actual train in, and we're also going to need a block signal there, and a block signal back here, just so that this is its own separate thing. Then you get a train refueler, pointed like that. And let's get the wagons in. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you are going to be stone destination, stone source. Apparently currently inaccessible. So that's not great. Full cargo or 120 seconds. And then you wait at the destination until empty cargo. We're going to set you to automatic mode, give you some fuel. And then we need to work out why this station is inaccessible. So we go down here, and all of this is very possible. There are all sorts of other trains going up and down this way. Oh, is it because that extra bit out here? Yeah, so that's not within range of drone ports, and I never stood close enough to have my personal drones do it, so that loop around never got finished. That's the problem. So we just run on over this way. And can we have, like, some signals in here too while we're at it? There we go. That will prevent some future problems. Alright, so now all of those get placed, and this train should promptly figure out how to get here. Alright, there it comes. And we can load up. Alright, so that's that. And now we just have to run back and connect our stone belt into our existing stone belts. So up we go. Through all the woods. Man, these trees are kind of creepy if you actually look at them. It very much looks like a haunted forest and not a regular forest. Alright. Anyways. So we go up here. This is our belt of stone. So we just run this over here. And then down through this way. And now we are out of fast belts. So we're gonna have to wait for more to be delivered. Sounds like we're still launching rockets every so often, so that's cool. How's the power grid doing? Still gets quite low. So we're going to have to go and place more. Alright, so now we stand here. And we have a whole bunch of drones coming to restock. Alright, so what is that attack? Is that anything interesting? Nope, it's just up here again. Let's give you an additional couple laser turrets in that area just to help out a little bit. Alright, for some reason this is not working. So we don't have any lubricant. So why are we out of this? So we just follow this pipe all the way up, and that's to the output. So where does the lubricant come from, and why is it not there? It seems to be flickering a lot. So we're gonna have to go investigate, because I need that for belts. Okay, it's coming out of a single machine, which isn't running most of the time. Alright, so this is... Right, so this is just where we get that from. So we make our rocket fuel here, at least a little bit of it. I think most of our rocket fuel comes from over here, though, which is short on solid fuel. So of course it is. So if that one's short on solid fuel and this one is just running along as usual, I need to fix that. Oh boy. Why did we lose so many drones all at once there? That is no good. Seems like everything is under control. Things are mostly being repaired. Let's expand that double wall out a little bit. Just for added security. So you all get productivity moduled. Now, this one is occasionally output full from light oil. And you are not having any difficulties with that. So let's speed module you. So you can use more light oil, which should let these guys run more frequently to produce more heavy oil to give us more lubricant. And that's still not going super well. So it should theoretically be enough, right? 8.5 plus 8.5 is like 17-ish. And this is using like 19-ish. So that should work. And the petroleum gas is evidently not an issue. But we're still having problems. Alright, the light oil there is decreasing though, so that's good. Now, is there any way that I can... Okay, I'm just gonna have this guy be controlled a little bit. So let's get a decider combinator. And you are going to feed from there and then control you. So you are going to read contents, and okay, we don't need to read ingredients then. That's a different thing. So we read contents, and we do enable disabled. So if check mark equals 1, then you're enabled, otherwise you're disabled. And the contents, so then this will take if heavy oil is greater than 100, then you can go. Okay, that's not ideal, but it does stop it occasionally, so that should help a little bit. And the lubricant remains the issue. Do we just turn this off entirely? I feel like we might have to just turn this off entirely. Let's just add an additional 0 onto that. Alright, so you are now disabled by control behavior forever. This isn't going to make rocket fuel, but we have other places to make rocket fuel, so that's okay. And now this should be getting all of the heavy oil it needs to produce its 8.25 per second. How much do our belts need? A huge amount, but they need a huge amount of everything, and that's just unrealistic to ever happen. Okay, so I mean these are going to continue being short on lubricant unless, is this pipe got heavy oil in it? Looks like it does. Alright, what if we just, like, pop you in here, connect you up to that, tell you to make lubricant. That'll help a little bit, right? Just a little bit extra. And you are probably also going to need to be productivity moduled, because I do not have any confidence that this is actually enough heavy oil to do the entire thing. Our oil processing setup is another thing which I really need to expand for a number of different reasons. Alright, so our fluid ingredient shortage is a lot less terrible now. Still pretty rough. And power is going fine, but I think we should add more just to be sure. Alright, so we can theoretically add these purely from this view, so we don't have to zoom in and mess around with that too much. Alright, so those get added in, and I'll add another 3 as well. You can never have too much power. And so those will get built as the drone ports get placed in. It'll queue up the rest of them. And that should keep the power going. So the heavy oil looks fine. This light oil is capped currently, which is not ideal. So we could maybe do some things less efficiently. Like we could cut off this in order to make sure we have more heavy oil going to the right and less light oil going in here. So I would imagine that these are apparently not output full, but apparently it's a bit dicey. Alright, so let's at very least take that out and make it productivity so that it's doing less production over time. And let's see here. What else can we do? We can make these petroleum gas producers. Actually, is this... Yeah, we can make these less efficient and faster. So we can do something like this. And that will use more light oil, which should help. It's funny just like incidentally watching the massive clouds of drones fly past. This is going to take quite some time to get all put together in a way that's functional, but it will happen eventually. Just sort of have to be patient with it, and ideally you gotta do that sort of thing before an emergency takes place. I don't know why all these drones are carrying the accumulators up here. I guess they need to stop somewhere to charge. Alright. So that is set up. What's this down here? Is that fine? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, our various inputs here. Copper input looks fine. Stone input. Okay, the stone input I got distracted halfway by the belts. So we need to come back to that. Okay, so where do we want to start with this? We could bring it back over here so that we have landfill. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So this belt just goes in like this. And across this way. And we might be able to get across this gap underground. Okay. We can if we place it right. So you need to go through there. Like that. And, oh, you need to be reversed as well. And then that connects into there. Alright, now we go across. How's the drones going? We have several hundred spare. So that's cool. Alright, so now we just have to bring this belt back up here and connect it up, and we have stone again. And okay, apparently all of these guys are going backwards too. So let's just fix those. This is not the best way of doing this, but it's fine. There's a tree in the way, so now we fix that. And that should bring us the rest of the way once we get these last couple belts built in. Alright, and stone. Alright, let's upgrade that past those and then reactivate the landfill production. So we do ultimately need some landfill. Let's add an additional stack of that as well. So we should still have a full tier 1 belt of stone going along here, and that should get everything going again. Okay, now we are losing accumulators because the biters have found it. So we just need to run down there real quick, and this area is a maze of pipes. Alright, so now we have to go around that. Not get hit by a train. That was a close call. Alright, yeah, so this apparently just... we built pretty close into a biter nest, and they're not happy about that. We actually built close into a couple biter nests, apparently. Okay, so first of all, we need to get down to where the biters are, which... Alright, here's the nest, which is almost certainly responsible. So let's add a bunch of laser turrets in and give him the old zap. Alright, now we are going to press forwards and deal with the nest itself once we have some free space to do so. Alright, so those laser turrets are in. And I forgot how the power lines are super vulnerable. Alright, that's that biter nest dealt with. Nice and easy. Now we want to just take all of this down, because we're eventually going to be expanding our power lines down in this direction, and we don't want anything in the way at all. Alright, so then we have this other biter nest over here to the west. Alright, so step one, we have that. So if things go bad, we can run back to it. Then we move forwards. And that is going to trigger this swarm, which we need to get rid of before we can get close to the nest. Alright, that was not ideal. We placed a couple that don't have power, but it should be good enough, at least to start with. Now we just have to get in there and start doing some zapping. Alright, and a little bit further forwards, and we place a whole bunch more. And we're good. Alright, another nest dealt with. Another giant chunk of stuff to dismantle, so that it's not in the way for future production. did that not drag properly? So we can get rid of all that, and we should be good to go. Spiders shouldn't necessarily be attacking the solar panels unless they really end up just right in their face, because they don't care too much about that. So that should be fine, and this whole thing did end up getting built. And now our power is much stronger than it was before. So that should be fine. So now we can run back up to... I can't remember what we were doing. I think we had just set the stone up, probably. Yeah, I think that's what we had done. I don't think we were actively in the middle of anything, which is nice. Let's see if we can squeeze around here. No, we can't. But we have landfill, so now we can. Hooray for shortcuts. Alright, so that will make that path a little easier to take, I guess. Gosh, all these random pipes in the way are driving me crazy. Alright, get now resupply. And big attacks going on there, and where else? I think the other place got repaired by now, so that's fine. Alright, so we should be in a pretty stable spot now. And science is happening again. That's cool. Do love me some science. Alright, how is our transport platform going? We are filling this up with junk. We really need to get the cargo bay up there at some point. Right, now we've sent a thing of landfill up. I don't think that was extremely important, considering we're heading to a volcano planet, but who knows. Alright. So, we badly need more green and red circuits. And green circuits we should be able to do... Actually, it looks like our green circuit supply is mostly okay. Yeah, it looks like the green circuit supply is mostly fine, and we are completely out of plastic for the red circuits. So that is supposed to be coming from over here. And these guys all have fluid ingredient shortages. They've got plenty of coal, but they've got no petroleum gas. So this is short on crude oil. Alright, now we get to play the fun game of did it get stuck, or did the crude oil train get stuck, or is it just slow? And the answer is it is just slow. Alright, well, that's that, I guess. We should be able to, like, productivity module these or something like that. I think I've done those in a while. Does that increase output speed for oil? Let's head down and investigate. Alright, we are getting a little bit of plastic, but that is not anywhere near enough. So I think crude oil might just be yet another thing that we need to add more production of. Alright, how is our power supply is looking good. What if I just disconnect that to save on coal? Because we should be fine through the night even without that. I guess that this will be an experiment to see. Alright, don't get hit by a train. That would be bad. So now we come down to this oil patch. And you are currently doing 2.82 per second. Now that makes you slower. This makes you much faster. Alright, so yeah, speed modules seem to be the trick here. And there we go. Okay, expected resources 2 per second. Oh, I see. That's different. Okay, so we actually don't need those. Do you need these, maybe? I'm not entirely sure. So if we just have nothing in here, it's mining speed of 2.4 per second. I don't know what these numbers all mean. I do not know what the numbers mean. Let's go with speed modules, I guess. That seems like it's going faster. Oh, what on earth? What just... We just lost 16 drones in the space of like 2 seconds. That's crazy. We might need to do something about those biters up there. Like, this is not a great situation. Alright, well, one thing we can try is if we do this whole thing up here, I think that helps distract them. So it'll take them longer to get within their range, and in the meantime our lasers can be shooting at them. And then we have another row like this. So yeah, let's try that out, see if it works. Don't know if it does. Just like I don't know if these pump jacks being faster works. But it looks like the crude oil might be lasting better with that. Okay, so this had some in storage tanks, then it just sort of goes up and down wildly. Then you're over here loading up from those storage tanks, and that's going to take you forever to do at the current rate. Alright, let's just say that it's probably fine. And we're just going to go out and find more crude oil. So we had a couple patches, like there and there, which were pretty close to stuff I already had. So let's go out. That one's 27, that one is 1,000. I guess we should go and grab that. So let's head down and try to improve our crude oil source. Which is all the way over this way. And it's going to be faster to make a train and ride it. So let's build that up. And I guess I'll start walking. There we go. get a locomotive, pop you on, give you some fuel, and then we can drive down this way. I feel like I'm on the wrong side of the tracks, but I don't think I am. Okay, that was wrong, but we should be able to correct, go down this way. Alright, so this is about where we need to turn. So let's stop, pick up the train, and start setting up our tracks. Like that and like that. Alright, so now we just need to head down to that and get it all attached up. So that goes down there, this comes down with it. And we get a drone port. We then connect all that up to power. Alright, so that should be all cleared. It's going to take a while for these power poles to get placed in. So let's see if we can speed that up. There, we can do it manually. Alright, now we head down here. And the oil is just already right here. I need to craft some pump jacks, actually. So let's do that. That's apparently going to take ages. So, in the meantime, where are all of these? Like, that's sort of the farthest to this side, that's the farthest to that side. So let's get those two in, just so that I can see sort of the boundaries of where I need to place these things. And now we can get a wall around. So we do something like that. Alright, yeah, that's unsurprising. So you don't have enough storage space. Well, that's fortunately why I queued up a cargo bay to get added, which seems like it doesn't have any interest in doing. Yeah, it does not seem like it cares to actually construct that cargo bay. Okay, now if we actually just check up here, is this... So neither of these actively have a rocket ready to launch at the moment, so I will have to see whether they get stuck when they do. Alright, so that goes down to meet the water, as does that. And then we just have to... should probably have enough pump jacks by now, right? Yeah, should be plenty. So these all go in. And that one needs to face a different direction because it would otherwise have another pump jack in the way. Alright, so that's all the pump jacks placed there. Now we just need to do the last little bit, so you get connected across, and power then comes down to here, and into there. And then down to that one, and now these are, I believe, all connected up. Very cool. Now we get laser turrets in. And I believe that west side is going to be the most likely side to get attacked, because there's a spider nest right over there. There's these ones can just get just light defenses, so that if something crazy happens, it isn't completely catastrophic. And so then we just get the power poles in for all of those. And that's that. Alright, now we just drag pipes along. And everything gets connected up. And then we're going to have to set up a train thing. So you go like there, you go around to there. Might not have enough pumps for all this. Yeah, so we might be low on pipes here. We only have 7 left, and we've got a whole bunch left to go. Alright, well, let's then swap to this mode to finish us off. So this pipe just goes along to there, and then connects up to there, and that's, I believe, all of those connected up. Now we just need to attach this into the trains. So these are going to need to get pushed back a little bit. And they're going to need to be pushed back enough so that they can go sideways. So you need to sort of go over this way, like that, and then you need to come down to... What on earth are you doing? Don't do that. Alright, you need to go along this way, like that. And that's where we're going to be importing our stuff. Alright, so that is still complaining that it's full, which it still should have some space, I would think. Alright, so regardless, we're just going to get that in. And now we get our pumps, which we need to craft a couple of. And we have to connect you around to there. And there we go. Get all of those queued up with drones. Alright, so that is all good. Now we need our pumps, which I just crafted. Where did they go? Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, now we have to go back to map mode, because apparently we haven't gotten any pipes delivered, so we just connect those across, pop another hole in there, and connect it all up. And then we can add some storage tanks just in there somewhere. Alright, let's poke another hole in here so I can get down this way. And I don't have any iron plates to craft storage tanks. That's fine, we can do it later. So all these pipes are getting queued up. They are making their way down here. It's just taking them an incredibly long time for no apparent reason. How did I miss that pipe, that pump with both of these? Alright, anyways, that's in. And we get a locomotive. And can I just do this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Alright, so those are queued up like that. And now I just need to make my way back up to the factory where I can get restocked properly to build this train out. And yeah, there's no point just standing around here. We're gonna have to head back up soon anyways. Up we go. And that should be a good supply of oil for the time being. And we're going to have to remember to configure that train once all of the tanks get built. Oh, I have a car here. That's handy. Let's hop in the car. And now we can just drive along this way. And dodge a whole bunch of rocks and cliffs and stuff. And ran him into some trees. I really need to get a tank. Alright, so that is good. I didn't mean to ram into that pipe. But that gets us close enough. And now we can just run into the factory. And now let's just stand next to some stuff and get resupplied. Because that is very important. Alright, we're losing... Oh, we lost a power pole. That's bad. Oh, that's very bad. That entire line of defense relies on that singular power pole, apparently. So let's get a couple backup power poles in there then. And then also, let's double wall you. And that's fine then. At that point, it's all good. Did this contraption ever do anything? We haven't been attacked since. Alright, so we are going to craft up some fluid wagons. What's this that I unlocked? When did I unlock that? That I've just never looked at it before. Alright, we are still very much short on a lot of things, but we are making progress. And also all these weird capsules, which I don't know what they do. Alright, so we have 3 of those. Now we can add in a 4th. And let's pop down one of you so that we can send those into that. And then craft up the fluid tanks as well. So now you also get fluid tanks, and that the drones should eventually figure out that they now have everything they need to craft that stuff. Alright, I'm getting a pipe restock, and apparently some crafting material restocks as well. So that's pretty cool. Now let's see what we can do about this platform hub storage space. Is that... It's not the landing pad. Okay, now we're having rocket fuel shortages apparently. Which is unsurprising considering the overall shortages of everything. Okay, so without the extra steam power, it looks like the accumulators are still fine. Although science is stopped again. Why is that? It's still... Okay, now it's electric furnaces, because these aren't getting enough red circuits. Because all the 5 red circuits that are making it through are going to make roboports instead. Yeah, that checks out. And in order to get more red circuits, we need more plastic. Alright, so that just is what it is. Okay, we did get a couple... We do have some rocket fuel, so we're not completely out. And our new train down here should be in the process of being built. Fortunately, these crude oil things are not able to continue producing at the moment because the storage tanks haven't gotten placed in yet. I assume that'll be these guys coming along here. Courageous drones flying through the biter-infested wilderness to eventually get this going. Alright, so that is ultimately not a big deal. I really just want this transport platform to get all the stuff that it needs. So this is 94% of another rocket launch. I want to see what it launches when it does. Now it's up to 96%. And this one is also getting some, which is not very efficient. Alright, has this train gotten built yet? No. 2 of the fluid wagons have, the other 2 have not. But that does mean that we can fill this up. Oh, and no fuel. That's not good. So we need to get a train refueler in there, and I think we are just going to have to run down there. Because that's going to take ages to get fueled otherwise. I mean, you saw how long it's been taking to get the storage tanks down. Although it looks like that is all built up now. So let's head down. Actually, I still need to label that station too. Okay, that rocket just launched. Don't know what it was carrying. Hopefully it was carrying the cargo pad. So we just need to get to like any portion of track that is available. And where's the... I keep forgetting that I still have to be crafting these trains manually. I should just get them pre-built. It would be much easier. Alright. Train is built. And we are off. Now actually, I can make this somewhat easier on myself. So we need to label you as oil, crude oil source. Train limit of 1. Now, we're going to set you to automatic and just go to... Am I facing the wrong way on this? Yes, I am. Alright, of course I am. So that has to be here. And you get fueled up. And we are going to go down to crude oil source. Okay. Wait, no, it's being dumb. And also I wasn't in it. Dang it. That was the worst thing I've ever done. There it goes. Alright, well that train is just off over here now, I guess. Alright, you can move forwards. You can stop there, go to the... Can you just, like, go somewhere useful? Instead of just sitting here. Alright, I'm just gonna tell a drone to go over there and dismantle that. We're just gonna walk the rest of the way. It's not that far. Trying to set up the train to do that automatically was a huge waste of time. Alright, so we are walking down. Actually, if we're walking, the requester chest is probably not that far off from being built and getting this done anyways. So many mistakes were made in this whole process. Okay, we lost another laser turret. We cannot just keep losing laser turrets. It's super annoying. I can't wait until we have artillery, which is one of the things that this planet we're going to is allegedly going to help us unlock. So that'll be super cool. Alright, now we're down here. You get... Oh, I put all of my fuel in the other one. Please say you can get fueled by wood. So you get added to... Actually, we just need to make this guy into a group. So you can become the crude oil group. Like that. And now we can just add you into that group. There we go. Set you on automatic. And hopefully the old fuel with wood system works. Alright. Please work. Alright. I don't know if that's even going to be enough fuel. But we can chop down another tree. And now you have 12 wood. There we go. And then I'm pretty sure we have... No, we don't have a train refueler on this side. Let's get that set up then. Alright, so that's all set up. This train is like 90% full. Oh, except for this last one. I see, that's an issue. Okay, we need to fix that. So this needs to be just like a millimeter longer. And then meet up with this just like up there. And then that gets attached onto the train. And you get set back to manual mode, to automatic mode, and that should be all done. Let's get signals in here so that nothing weird happens with that. Because I don't know if I remembered to put this... Oh, I didn't even set this up correctly at all. I didn't finish. So you have to go up to there. You have to go across to there. Then we need signals. So we need a chain signal there. And there. And there. And a block signal there. There. And up here. Alright, so that is now all signaled properly. So we're not going to have weird situations. Alright. Why are these guys... Oh, right, yeah, no, we can't have those guys just randomly in the middle of that. That's going to cause all sorts of problems. Alright, so this train is now filling up its last car, and it should be leaving shortly. Should I just head out and deal with those biters? I really don't want to. I'm just going to hope that they don't cause problems. And actually, I'm just going to take this train up. That will be a lot easier. So this train is like 90% full. So you can just hop in. Tell you to go to your next stop. And we are using wood as fuel, so I would not be surprised if we don't make it all the way, or even especially far. Wood is down to 6. Alright. We are up to speed, though. So we should be able to make it at least... Yeah, we should be able to just barely make it, and then refuel there. There we go. Problem solved. And now we've got crude oil. We have plenty of crude oil for the short term. So that's nice. That should keep the plastic running and all sorts of other stuff as well. I don't know why I'm getting all that stuff delivered to me. I don't remember needing it. Alright, so now we can just head over here. The plastic is getting output at full speed, so that's cool. And hopefully that'll get science going again. Hopefully that'll get science going again, and we will be all set. Alright, so this whole section is looking fine still. We've got plenty of green circuits. The red circuit production is mostly idle, and that should change pretty soon when all this plastic gets up there. We do kind of just need more, though. Like, this is a good amount of plastic. It's probably not enough plastic, necessarily. But it'll at least be good enough to get us going for a little bit. Now if we go up here, this is still short on rocket fuel, which is just the same old problem that we've been having. This time it's short on solid fuel, which we should be able to just sort of requester chest in to here. And that'll help as long as we have solid fuel somewhere. So that is going. The chest gets built. Solid fuel gets delivered. How much of this stuff do we have in the logistics network? We have 302. That is not that much. That is not that much. We need so much more oil, just like everything related to oil. Okay, what is going on here? Oh, right, we're producing enough of these to have a stockpile of them before we start making science again. That is perfectly good. Now, the transport platform. We still haven't sent up the cargo bays, which we kinda need. We have sent up some assemblers, though, so that's cool. This is starting to resemble my basic stuff that I have on me for building, which it might not even be enough. Like, we might need even more, but it'll be at least a start. Alright, so the rockets are going up. Plastic has made it to red circuit production, which is now going through. So that is pretty neat. Launching even more rockets. That's the rest of the assemblers. I really would just want the cargo bays to go up so that this alert can disappear. Like, maybe the cargo bays are the thing causing the alert. Alright, maybe I can just manually... Alright, we're going to take you off that, and instead... These are the cargo bays, right? No. These are the cargo bays. We are going to give you a stack of cargo bays. Where do those end up? They're in my inventory somewhere. Ah, the joys of having a massive inventory filled with a bunch of junk. There. So we can throw that in there. And then when this rocket gets finished, then we can deliver that. And it'll be all good. So in the meantime, we're going to be crafting up a whole bunch of cargo bays to replace those. So our rocket fuel production down here. How are you going? You have plenty of solid fuel as of now. You seem to have not quite enough light oil. Yeah, so can I... Are these capable of being productivity moduled? Or are they... Okay, they can. Let's productivity module all of those guys. And hopefully that will help out with that. So this is up to 62%. So that's taken a while. It's definitely not a quick process. Definitely not a quick process with how slowly we produce rocket fuel at the moment. Which is probably I should just buckle down and start improving production of various things. So we have more oil now, in theory. So we had added that extra spot, which has a whole ton. So this has plenty of storage in it. This one has a little bit of crude oil. And then this one down here is capped out and waiting for... Okay, so we need to set you to train limit of 1. Train limit 1. And then you can move on. And that'll get that all going faster. So if we have enough crude oil to expand that significantly, I think we do. So let's take this pipe and bring it down to some empty space. And it's actually going to need a pump because of how long it is. So you go in there and get powered up. So now we just need to bring this out and over here, I guess. You can just go through that space where the power isn't going. Alright, so let's start with some more oil refineries. And we're just gonna get a whole bunch of these guys in. And the goal is plastic, solid fuel to some extent. Yeah, so the goal is plastic, solid fuel, and rocket fuel. Just get more of all of those. And I think I'm not going to be so worried about exact ratios this time. We're just going to sort of wing it. Get lots of machines in and then just see what happens. So we got the crude oil up into that. We need to get water as well. So that can go along like there. And then down to here. Across all of that. And then... Actually, we need to set this up to have multiple rows of machines. So this would go back here. And no, actually that's also wrong. So this one has to go back here. The water has to go all the way back here in order to fit in. So that can just go along like this. I don't know where all of my pipes are. I'm going to get a drone port out here, just so that we have one. Alright, is there some mysterious shortage in pipe production that I don't understand? No, we have plenty. They're just kind of slow to make their way down to me, I guess. Alright, so we're getting a whole bunch of other stuff delivered as well. That was for these. So let's add a nice solid row of oil processing and then connect that up. Alright, so now we put all these machines in. And I do want this to be relatively efficient, so we're going to be doing productivity modules on everything. So that goes across, and the water pipe is going to need a pump. So let's get over to it and fix that. So that goes out, and get another one of these guys. You just go in like that, and problem solved. Okay, so now we have that. We just put all the water pipes across into these. Okay. Actually, I want this to be both efficient but also fast, so let's just take some of these guys out and make beacons. Although the beacons are going to be smaller, so that's actually going to mess with the spacing even more. Alright, that's fine. So we just have to go one of you and one of you. And just alternate here for a little bit until I get bored. And this should be plenty. That should be plenty. So now we just have to get all of these guys aligned properly. So that then goes in. There's probably a more compact way of doing this, but I don't really care that much. Just having a couple beacons interspersed in will do most of the work. So we could make this faster per machine, probably with some clever beacon placement, but I don't want to do clever beacon placement. I just want to sort of place them every so often and then have it be fine. So this all goes into the water. And then that comes across. And we get these last couple of ones in. What was that? That was a solar panel. Alright, just randomly destroyed. Sort of collateral damage from this biter attacking up here, I guess. Okay, let's put some laser turrets out there just to sort of screen that off and try to prevent it before it happens. Okay, that was a terrible wall build, but it's fine. We can just make this a slightly larger spot. And then we can put just drone coverage wherever. And we lost a wall up here. Okay, that's fine. That's what the double walls are for. Okay, now we get power poles. So these can just go back here. And then connect up like that. So now we get our productivity modules, which are going to go along in all of these machines. And then we have speed modules go in all of these ones. So we are going to have nice, speedy production while still being as efficient as we can currently make them. So next step is the output pipes. So we get a pipe there, then we have a gap and a pipe here. Then we have a gap and a pipe here. Okay, so that is that. I really should have just made this all a blueprint and then just copy pasted it. I'd be saving so much time right now, but here we are. It's too late now. So then the second row becomes the light oil. And we just connect all those up. And the third row becomes the petroleum gas. And there we are. Okay, so that is all set up. Ooh, we're getting a resupply. That's good. We were pretty low on pipes. Actually, we're sort of constantly low on pipes. I might make that 300, actually. Where is that laser turret that we just lost? Up at this corner. Yeah, that's just sort of rough, unfortunately. Not much more we can do to make that better. Beacon for the ones on the end. It's fine. Those speed modules will only be improving one building each. So, I don't know. This is probably more than my crude oil can manage anyways, so I'm not too worried about it. Alright, so what were our goals for here? We wanted to make plastic, rocket fuel, and solid fuel. So plastic needs petroleum gas, rocket fuel needs light oil, solid fuel needs petroleum gas. So I guess we're just going to break the heavy oil down and then just mostly leave the light oil. Alright, so let's get this row in. We want to leave some space for pipe shenanigans. And how much is this actually? So heavy oil to light oil is considerably more per machine than this can manage. Even productivity moduled, it's still a fair bit more. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So these don't need to be speed moduled or anything. And we actually don't even need this many, which is good because I need to craft up more chemical plants anyways. Alright, so now we take this. You get an input pipe there. And an input pipe there. Then we have these connected up to the water and heavy oil. So that, and then this one. So these are all going. Of course, there's a random tree in the way. Why wouldn't there be? Alright, now we connect these up. So this is the water pipe. You go up there. This is the heavy oil pipe. You go around there. Alright, so now these all get productivity moduled. And then they all get powered up. Something like that. And then connect. Alright, so that is going to make our light oil. So, the next step is to turn the light oil... Well, no, we need the light oil for the rocket fuel. And we just need to turn all of the petroleum gas into solid fuel. That's the next step that we can do, which hopefully we can just do over here. And that shouldn't require anything fancy, right? So we just need, yeah, we can just run this pipe directly across, like so. And then we need productivity module on all of those. And now we're out of productivity modules until we get a resupply. And there we go. So that is solid fuel, which we can then just get a belt and all these in. This is a bit wasteful of power poles, but power poles are not exactly extremely valuable. Alright, so first off we have that, but we also need to take some of the solid fuel out to make the rocket fuel. We also need a drone port out here, so that this is within range of the logistics network. Now, how much petroleum gas do we have? This is 20 to 25 per thing, and this is like 13 per thing. So we're going to need even more of this in order to keep up with all the petroleum gas. Alright, well that's a good problem to have, I guess. So we can start by just doing the beacon thing again and taking out these inserters, which will mess with the beacons. And then we might need to move that drone port that we just placed down to get more space. No, not steel. Speed modules. There you go. So now this is 32. So this is like 40, 80 plus 60. So this is like 140 petroleum gas used. And then this is 25, 50, 75, 100, 140-ish petroleum gas produced. Alright, so that's pretty good. Oh wait, what's plastic? Plastic is also made from petroleum gas. And coal. Okay, that's going to be a thing we need to deal with. So our next step, though, is to get the light oil out. So we can worry about getting the ratios right with the solid fuel production and plastic production later. For now, let's get the light oil out over to here where it can meet up with the other light oil. And alright, so now our light oil is all connected up. And we need to take the light oil and the solid fuel to make rocket fuel, and that's in assembly machines. So we just get a couple of these guys in. And you are going to be making rocket fuel. So those all get set up like that. Okay, now our We don't have much space up top, so if we can get all of this done down on this side, that would be pretty neat. And that requires this pipe going like this so that we have room for inserters. And then it connects up. Okay, then we have our solid fuel run along this way. And our rocket fuel output run in the gap there. Alright, so wait, is that... No, the output is too far, obviously. That should have been immediately obvious. Alright, so that is going to have to go up on the north side, which I think we'll have room for, barely. Alright, so we barely have room for this, but it should be fine. So now we just have to power it all up. And there we go. And now these guys get their inserters. Okay, that one needs to be there in order to reach the belt. Okay, so that's all good. I think our solid fuel logistics is not going great right now. Seems like we need a lot of it. Oh, it's being brought down to here just to keep this rocket fuel production line going. Okay, that's just sort of whatever. But we want this to be as efficient as possible, which means productivity modules, which we apparently do not have currently. Why is that? If we look up here, it's because of red circuits, because of a lack of plastic. Same problem we've had for a while, basically. Alright, so we need to set up the plastic production then, which we need in order to keep the light oil going out. Alright, so we need a fluid storage tank, I think. Alright, so we have that. Can you be attached up? Yes, you can, to data cables. So first of all, we have that. So now that is storing some light oil. Then, plastic is made in chemical plants, right? I've got 10 of these. So let's place those in. And yes, they make plastic. We're going to need to grab some coal, but that's fine. Oh, but there's an intermediate step, actually. We need to turn this light oil down into the petroleum gas first. So step one, light oil to petroleum not petroleum grass, petroleum gas. So let's get that set up. You get one input pipe and another input pipe. So then that gets pasted along. This goes in here. And then the water pipe goes across. Alright, so we need to get water. Chibi Cross, how's it going? It's going pretty well. We are working on making a giant fuel, just, you know, various crude oil production stuff at the moment. And we're trying to fit all these pipes in. Alright, that's that goes across to here. Alright, we lost a laser turret, but it's fine. So that attaches into the water. I have been playing Factorio for a good while now. This is my second playthrough. And it's my first time with Space Age, though, so there's a lot that I don't quite know yet. Alright, so we need to set up the whole latch system thing here. So that goes around there. That then all gets powered in. And then those get attached up. Then we need this to go in. So these guys all get attached up. Alright, so that is more petroleum gas. And I just want that to be controlled via... Okay, let's see if I can remember how to do this. So we connect you up like this. You are enable disable with a check mark equals 1. And you are set to read contents, obviously. Then you get powered up. Alright, so in order to do this, we have the light oil is greater than 20,000, or light oil is greater than 5,000 and check mark equals 1, output check mark equals 1. Then you get connected up to yourself. And we are good. So you are enabled, which means that these guys could run if they wanted to. And that gives me petroleum gas, which... Okay, so we need that to connect back to here. It's a little bit wacky, but it's fine. So that connects back to here. And actually, I should probably have... I should actually probably do that differently. So we want another storage tank, because we don't want to overfill with petroleum gas and get anything stuck. So you get a storage tank, and... Okay, no, you don't need a pump, do you? No, you don't need another pump. Alright, so now this storage tank is going to also connect up into you, and you are going to add another signal for... Let's see here. How do we do this? Oh, I think I know an easier way. So rather than having that connected up directly, we're going to have another decider combinator. Wait. Hang on, let me think. Because I want to make this so that it will also not... I want this to be outside. So if... No, I think we just need to have a different machine for this. So we have another decider combinator back here. And you say if the petroleum gas is greater than 20,000. Or petroleum gas is greater than 10,000, and we just have a signal in here. No entry equals 1. Then you're going to output no entry equals 1. And then, so that's basically just like another latch onto here. So then you need to be connected into there. So you get the petroleum gas signal if there were any, which there currently is not. And then, instead of you feeding directly into that, we need you to feed into you, and you go into you. You know, you go back there. That connection is unnecessary. So you are getting the output signal from there and the signal from there. So if check equals 1 and no entry equals 0, then you output a check, and that is what goes into there. I think, I don't know if that all makes sense, but what it's supposed to do is, if there's a bunch of petroleum gas already in here, then we don't want that to jam, so we are not going to be producing more from these. If there isn't a bunch of petroleum gas in here, and we have plenty of spare light oil, then we will turn that extra light oil into petroleum gas and go from there. Okay, so now we need to actually do that. So we need to get chemical plants in, and this all connects up like that. So we can then fill that up. So now we need our chemical plants, which are going to be going just sort of along this way. And they are going to be making plastic. And that should be plenty already. Now we need to productivity module these, which we don't currently have, but let's get them going. So that gets productivity moduled, that gets productivity moduled. And that will be all of that we can do realistically for a long time while we wait for that to go. So then we have our input and output belts. So we are going to be taking coal in from here. What are we losing there? Just more laser turrets. Nothing to panic over. So all those get input belts. Then the plastic gets output belts. And then we get power poles in here. Alright, so that is all set up, and theoretically would work. So now we just have to go grab the coal, bring this plastic back. I guess we could start bringing the plastic over now. And this goes like over this way. And then up here. And onto that belt with the rest of the plastic. Then we have our coal, which is on this belt, and it's going to come over this way, and it needs to get over here. And then you just go along this way, and up, and in. Alright, now once all that gets built, we should have plastic production going. It's a lower priority than some of the other things, but it is still very much nice to have. Alright, so that's going. The rocket fuel is going. I apparently forgot to connect you up to a provider chest. So let's get that in. And now the plastic. I didn't pop these in, so that just goes like that. I've locked myself into a little box here. So let's take that out and just make you an underground pipe going that way. And then we connect the rest of them up. And that is a whole lot more plastic production than we had. And I don't know how well that will last or not, but hopefully it'll be pretty good. Now, if any of this is a bottleneck, most of this stuff can still be boosted. Oh boy, what's that? Biters have found a new angle to attack from, and we need to run up there and stop them immediately. They are chewing through this iron processing area. Okay. Let's get up there. And just put some laser turrets in immediately. Alright, so that is an unfortunate loss of a lot of stuff. And now we know that this needs to be defended. So laser wall goes in. We're going to give this some space, but we don't need to give it too much space. So you can go in like that, and what, something like that, I guess, for the corner. And then this can just stretch across over here, so that hopefully they won't figure out how to sneakily go around it. Okay, now this whole thing just needs to be attached to power. So those power poles are in, and we should be much more secure now. We are... Okay, I see what happened here. So that whole thing didn't get powered up, which means that those laser turrets are just defenseless, and this biter is just chewing away at them for fun. Hopefully the drone can get down there with a power pole pretty quickly. It should be fine. We have plenty of power. We just need a drone that cares to show up. Alright, here it comes. And once that power pole goes in, this biter will get zapped. And then that will be that. Okay, so this area is more secure now. That's all set. And then, if we just head back down here to this, we've got plenty of light oil. In fact, is light oil being a bottleneck? It looks like light oil might be... Yeah, definitely is acting as a bottleneck. So, let's go up here and make these guys speed boosted then. Unless... petroleum gas is also a bottleneck. Alright, yeah, let's go and put some beacons in to both of the machines that use light oil so that we can get through it pretty quickly. Almost got hit by that train. Managed to dodge. Okay, so all we have to do is pop out you and you, and pop in a beacon and a beacon. So there you go. You are now extra fast. And then we have to come over here and do the same thing. Just take out every other one and replace them with beacons. Although for these ones, we need to be careful not to have these inserters there because they will yoink the modules out of the beacons, which is very annoying. Alright, so now these guys all get sped up, and they're going. How much power is that? It's really not that much. Not that much at all. So that should burn through the light oil a lot faster. So that's 1.55. So that's like 3-ish. 4.5-ish. So that's like 6-ish light oil consumption there. Now these guys do not have enough fluid. Okay, wait, these are actually just insanely efficient in terms of, like, they don't use that much light oil at all. It's these ones over here which seem to be draining the light oil. How much solid fuel is this, theoretically? So item ingredient shortage. We don't have enough petroleum gas. So we need way more petroleum gas for this then. Which we are working on. So let's just expand this row out a bit. Alright, so we're going to have to disconnect that, which is fine. And we just copy paste you. Alright, so if we just copy paste you and then just sort of place. Alright, let's get out of the way before we cause problems or get stuck inside of the machines. Alright, so now that is all built up. Now this comes around there and attaches in, and that will be hopefully enough light oil consumption. So yeah, this is now going down, and petroleum gas looks like it's staying stable at least. So the solid fuel should be enough there. Let's see, there's 4 of these, 4 of those. These are normal speed. Yes, we should be fine. We should be fine for solid fuel once, not accounting for this, which we really do not need to have that much storage space in it. Alright, so light oil demand is now basically maxed out. And we have a plastic backup. So that's pretty cool. Also, we're low on coal. Of course we're low on coal. Is there any nice convenient way we can just staple more coal in? I think we're mostly using the entire patch that we had. Okay, and this belt is just a very slow belt, which is not full, although it's relatively full, I guess, for a Mark 1 belt. Alright, so this coal patch is doomed. There's another coal patch that's just up there, which I guess is easy enough to just walk out and grab. So I might as well. So let's walk out here, pop a gate in, and actually we're just going to be extending this wall out and then looping it back down to there. And we need a drone port to cover this area, which we can just put sort of out of the way over that side. Alright, so now all that gets built. So next up we need our electric mining drills. So this all goes in. And unfortunately this is a relatively small patch. So, you know, it's got the convenience factor of being right here, but it's going to run out pretty quickly, and the quantities coming out of it won't be insane. But that's fine. Just get what we can. So there we go. Now we get the belts. I really should figure out just like a solid blueprint that is good at doing these. The patches are all different sizes, which makes it tricky, but I'm sure I could figure something out that works. Alright, so this doesn't need to go into the train system. This can just sort of do its own thing. And it also doesn't need to be more than like one belt. Alright, so let's get all of these guys powered so that they can start producing. Oh, I just realized I didn't leave enough space in this gap. That's fine. You and you can come out, I guess. Alright, that's good enough. So now this belt comes down through there. And yeah, we just need to get you sort of in this general vicinity. And it would be real cool if we could not have Mark 1 belts bottlenecking our entire coal system. So I want to get this at least Mark 3 out to something. Wait, no, that's wrong. That was the wrong thing that I attached it into. Whoops, that was the stone. The coal is over here. That's fine. We just need to go around this then. Fortunately, the starting stone patch was also completely dead, so there's no issues there. Alright, so now we have you, and you are only using half the belt because the other half is for solid fuel, so we are going to want to fix that down to here-ish. Get all of these splitters in correctly as well. But I think at this point we're probably more or less fine. I guess let's just get past another splitter or two. So there we go. That should be alright now, I think. I think that should be fine as far as coal supplies go. And we might need to revisit accelerating these belts again. But, okay, wait. Actually, that one there goes to just steam power. And nothing else. Yeah, actually, I don't want you at all. So the steam power is not relevant or useful, so we're just going to cut it off. Instead, the splitter that matters is this one over here. So you go over this way, and that should be fine then. So this plastic is output full. And is this even like a thing? This is connected up to the supply of petroleum gas, I guess. Alright, sure. You can be a passive provider chest. That might come in handy at some point. Alright, so now we have plenty of coal going through this whole system. And we need to do crazy things to maneuver around to get to over here. We are still a lot of productivity modules short. We still need a lot more of those guys. But let's see here. Light oil is capped out. Petroleum gas is quite healthy. And the heavy oil doesn't really matter. We have plenty of plastic. And yikes. Okay, we have plenty of rocket fuel. Rocket fuel, no longer the problem. What's the shortage here? That has 2 rockets set up. This one is still going. Yeah, okay, I think if we go up to transport platform, apparently we have just about everything, except for... Okay, you can get removed from that. We do not need gun turrets. Then we need more construction drones and laser turrets, and we don't need firearm magazines either. And alright, I think this is theoretically, it's got most of the stuff that I would want. So we have power, we have constructions, we don't have walls. Okay, why are you not sending walls up? So yeah, we're missing walls, productivity modules, lasers, and construction drones. So construction drones are necessary. Walls and lasers may or may not be necessary if they're monsters. And productivity modules we are fine without. Oh wait, I just realized. I know why this is like this, because I set you off of automatic requests to specifically launch the cargo bays, which probably didn't need to do. Alright, so now we set you up to go again, and we got mining productivity, that's great. And explosive rocketry. Do we even want that? Do I even care? I don't necessarily think that I care. Let's get... let's see here, what is this? Discharge defense, that seems interesting. What is this? It's an equipment grid thing? Okay, I don't know if I care about that. Personal laser defense would be quite handy to have. Let's queue that up. And then, I don't know, braking force... And might as well queue up explosive rocketry, just in case. And there's been like 5 seconds where I've wanted tanks, so let's queue those up. Okay, so they're chipping away at walls still. That's still fine, of course. Now, how do I get out of here? Do we have to head down? No, that's... I've constructed a maze. I think we go out here. Then down past here. Alright, we've made it out of that section of fluid production. Gosh, these biters do not take a break for 5 seconds. Oh, these walls I never put lasers on. Yeah, okay, that would do it. So let's get some lasers up here. And put some lasers in. Well, hey, the good news is that the walls worked. They managed to successfully stop the biters from getting into my coal mines. So that's nice. I mean, they would have been chewing on mining machines if not for that. So I'm pretty happy with that. All right. batteries. So we haven't been crafting laser turrets in a while, apparently, because we don't have any batteries. Now, where is our battery production? So that is, I assume, this belt. And it has to go past all of those first. Then down over this way. Down here. Oh, I see. It has to get past... It has to get past this. Alright, let's shut you down so that our battery production can go to making laser turrets again. And it might have to get past, like, all of the other things first. You might wind up making a bunch of these, which would be quite a shame. Although these don't require that many batteries, right? And these produce theoretically enough. This top one got messed up somehow. That's non-functional. Alright, let's... Oh, this was all happening like 5 feet from me. When you enter the map mode to find something, and it's literally right there. Alright, so I don't know how coal got on that belt. That must have been some old mistake, I guess. Yeah, that was an old mistake, which I tried to fix and apparently missed a spot. Alright, so now we should have enough battery production. And this is gonna go up here and make a whole bunch of these. Alright, I'm gonna take those out briefly. And let's limit these to like 2 stacks. Because I know I've been not producing those for quite a while now. So now we are producing those. The drones. And then once the batteries make it past this, which they should, I think, based on the numbers, then we can start making laser turrets again. And hopefully the entire factory won't be destroyed in the meantime. That would be cool. Alright, back over to this. These are still producing, right? Fluid ingredient shortage. So this is short on sulfur. And this is just chilling, I think. So this one is fine. It's got plenty of petroleum, but it's not producing fast enough for this. Alright, so we can still do some improvements there with better modules in here. So you get better modules, and you can swap over to at least 1 speed module, and I might as well upgrade that as well. So yeah, now you're producing much faster, which should give us a much better supply of sulfuric acid for the batteries. So that is going along now. And yeah, so that now the batteries are getting down to the laser turret production. And that is nice. Alright, these, I think I want to just extra productivity module them. We're still very low on productivity modules. So these now are not short on any of the inputs. They're just not especially quick because of how productivity moduled they are, in part. But we are getting there. We are making red circuits. And some of those red circuits are making modules. It's just kind of painfully slow. Alright, we cannot afford to keep losing laser turrets, especially now that we don't have much of a buffer. We only lost 1 there, but it's still a bit worrying. We very, very nearly lost another. And this area is already basically... I guess I can triple wall it, but with the ranged biters, I don't even know if that matters at all. I really need to figure out how to deal with the ranged biters more effectively. I mean, there's that nest up there, which I should probably just get rid of. Alright, we are no longer registering a shortage of laser turrets. Although it looks like we still don't exactly have spares. So those are immediately getting sent to pick up. And it's trying to pick up 3 of them, despite the fact that there's only 1 of them there. Good luck with that, Mr. Drone. And these are end products, so they can't be productivity modules, so there's nothing I can do on that front. If I had more productivity module Mark IIs, I can make these more efficient so that more batteries would get through them. But I currently am still quite short. I could also make these faster, which would be very counterproductive, so I'm not going to do that. Because this whole area is still in assembly machine 2s. Alright, at this point we have basically everything that we need except for enough red circuits. So let's run up there and see if we can just slap a second row in or something. Alright, so we have our copper wire, we have our green circuits, we have our plastic. All of those things look like they're doing just fine. Now, if I were to take this... Are these guys getting produced at all? I think they technically are a little bit. Can these get productivity moduled? No, they cannot, because they're not intermediate products. Okay, so we just need to add more red circuit production. That's just the bottom line. So, let's see if we copy paste just like this, and we flip you vertically so that you're outputting onto the same bit, then we can just do that, and then we just need to get these belts up to there, which is not going to be super easy. So we can take them from this side and just wrap them around. So, first of all, you get a splitter, and you come up this way, and you are the close-in one, so we're going to just do this. Alright, that's that. Then we need the copper wire, which doesn't need to be splitter because it wasn't doing anything else. You come up here, and then turn this way, and go that way. Alright, so that is, in theory, a second row of red circuits, and we will see. I am somewhat skeptical that our green circuit supply can handle that, but we will find out. Now we are even more productivity modules short of where we need to be. Okay, you can at least be Mark II machines, or Mark III machines, or whatever it is. Our speed module supply is also apparently very low, although not quite too low to be a problem. Alright, it looks like green circuits and plastic have made it across just fine, and this might be too much wire, or it's at least quite close. So let's see if this belt needs to be accelerated for longer in order to make it. So that is going. It's sending as much across as it can. And yeah, so this isn't... We need more wire, apparently. And this is already basically a full belt of wire as it is. So that's not great. There's not all that much we can do. I guess we can make... We can theoretically make the green circuits more efficient. And that would use less wire. We can also... Obviously these guys all need to have their productivity modules placed in as well, and that would use less wire. And these guys need productivity modules. Actually, these guys can just use any productivity modules at all and be improved. So we can do that. And the red circuit supply is once more dramatically improved. Power is looking a bit spicy. But we still have a decent enough cushion, I think. Alright, now I think you just need to be going faster. Because you have enough red circuits to go as fast as you can and make those. These random higher quality things taking up inventory space is super annoying. Alright, we're launching another rocket with drones this time. That'll be nice to have. And I think we're basically done launching stuff to the rocket. Let's see here. If we go up here, we're missing... Once those drones show up, unless we have to send another launch, we're just missing laser turrets and productivity modules, which probably are never happening. Oh yeah, so the drones are up. So the only thing left is laser turrets, which I don't even know if we need, because I don't know if there are monsters there. And speaking of laser turret production, still going. Not quickly, but it is still going. As basically the same story as our productivity module production. We're slowly making progress. I want this to be actually like 3 stacks of spare, just so that when we have the spare we can do as much as we can with it. So this, what is this limited by? Is this limited by speed? Let's make you go faster. I think it's limited by productivity module 1s, which we need a fair chunk of. It looks like blue circuits is going fine for now, somehow. I don't know how, because those are always an even worse problem than red circuits, but for now at least, blue circuits are doing okay. Alright, so this makes some productivity modules, and then it stops because it doesn't have enough. Yep, that's about what I expected. So this one is seemingly running around the clock. The rest of these aren't really getting any red circuits at all, and that's because we are also making these speed modules. Alright, well, we're just gonna have to wait. It looks like we did wind up with enough wire for the entire row. So that's good. And probably rather than expanding this further, next time I'm just going to be adding beacons in, just to keep it relatively compact and not waste more productivity modules. how's research doing? Okay, it spiked up like crazy like 10 seconds ago, and I guess that's just because we're making enough red circuits to do stuff. So that's cool. I like being able to do research at a reasonable speed. So the red circuits are coming through. Purple science is going. You can be machine level 3s. That will help out a little bit. And I assume that these are all the other sciences are probably just about capped. Yeah, that looks about right. So these running... So these don't have electric engines, which are missing red circuits, as usual. Okay, let's run along. Is there literally anything on the red circuit line which isn't productivity module, which can be productivity moduled? You are end product, you can't be productivity moduled. Down here, this all looks good. Why do I have one beacon in there? That's weird, but whatever. It's fine. Alright. Then this is where they start being produced with the other extras coming from up here. Alright, so our next basically goals are we need to figure out how to get a second belt of copper wire through at bare minimum. Possibly also a second belt of green circuits. Although the green circuits are actually fine, probably. So we're gonna have to do that, but I think we're mostly solid for now. So I think this is probably just about a good spot to wrap up the stream. I mean, we have everything that can be launched up to the transport platform launched. So then it's just going to be a question of other stuff we need during the construction phase of this, which is probably going to be substantial because we need to actually get all this stuff functional. And then we will be launching us off into another planet, and that will be on Monday probably. So, thanks everyone for hanging out. I think we're going to wrap up the stream here. Had a lot of fun today. We have, at least temporarily, fixed our oil problems. It looks like right now we've got plenty of spare oil. And we've got plenty of plastic. More than enough rocket fuel and solid fuel. So this whole thing is going just fine. And we've also done some other stuff. I can't remember. Oh, we've fixed the stone shortage, which apparently there's some weird signaling going on down there, which I don't really care about. And we have gotten our rocket with all the supplies we need, probably. We've also finished researching the tank. And let's just queue up some other stuff. Like, what in here do I even use? I guess braking force and lab research speed. And all this stuff is yellow. We can do efficiency modules and quality module Mark IIs. And then it's just going to be on to, like, productivity and mining productivity. And then that will just be happening next stream. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. I stream every weekday from 2 to 5 Eastern Time, so if you're interested, make sure to give me a follow, and then you can stop by and know when I'm live. And if you've already followed, thanks, that's real cool. So I will see you guys next time. Bye.